Hey guys, how's it going today? This is Captain Energy. Today we're going to take a look at Sample Robot. Sample Robot is an application that allows you to take a synthesizer and import the sounds from it into a sample instrument that can be played back in almost any DAW or most hardware synthesizers. Even the devices that it doesn't support can still be supported because it exports WAV files or AU files, so you can still import those files into a non-directly supported instrument. I'm using version 6 of the Pro version of the software. The Pro version is the probably most capable version of the software. It works great with synths like the montage. In fact, that's how I found out about it, because the montage actually included a montage-specific version early on. And I'm not sure if you can still get it or not, but it was a great app. And when I found out that there was a Pro version that would allow me to use it with other samplers, like the one that I use in Cubase or the one that I use in Reason, I thought to myself, oh yeah, I got to get that. It's pretty sweet. So I'm going to show you today how it works and why you could use it or what you could use it for. All right. First, I have an older keyboard here, my Yamaha CS1X. This is one of my favorite keyboards. It was my first, I'll call it modern synth, but it was in the 90s, so it's not that modern. But at the time, it was very amazing. It's still a great keyboard, and I use it all the time. Well, this keyboard is getting a little up in the years, and also it isn't as capable as I'd like it to be. It only allows you to have one performance voice. So in order to circumvent that problem, I need to sample the sounds off of it and then make sample-based instruments so that I can have multiple performance-type voices, really thick, nice voices. And the way to do that, up till now, has been tedious, hard work. But now, with Sample Robot, I can take my sounds and just pull them off. I'm going to show you how that works. All right? I'm going to go right over here to File. And when you open the application, it starts with a wizard. I'm going to show you that wizard because we can work our way through from there after, just to give you an idea how to do it manually if you'd like. But go right over here, go to Project Wizard, boom. Gives you a little bit of introduction here, tells you what things you need to watch out for here. Be sure that you do read these steps, because you want to be sure that your MIDI cable is hooked up, your audio cable is hooked up, all these things are right. Because if I have the synth and when I bring it in, it's cranked up and I end up getting distortion at this point, that distortion is going to be captured and immortalized in my sampled instrument. We don't want that, right? We want a good quality, hot, but not too hot sample. So just be sure that these things are things you look through and read through. There are 3 ways to capture. We're going to use the automatic one because that's the quickest, easiest way to grab a sample. Semi-automatic will let you pick the key, hit the note, and it'll record that sound. And when you're done, it moves on. It's kind of like step recording your samples. It's nice for instruments that don't have MIDI capability. So if you've got an old enough synth that doesn't support MIDI, you can still record all the sounds off of it into Sample Robot. Or maybe you play something else. Maybe you play an oboe or trumpet, a guitar, something that doesn't have a MIDI version. You could play those instruments in as well and capture those notes so that you could build a sample bank. Next, we give the project a name. I'm going to call the project CS1X. CS1X, because it is my CS1X. And now it wants to know where I want to store my temporary data as we build here. I'm going to just pick a folder here. I'm going to go down here, Drive F, and I'm going to make a folder for us to work with. Call it YouTube Demo. There we go. Bam. I choose that folder and I hit Select. Next. Now, next question you have to answer is, what method are you getting the audio into the to the system with, to your computer with? What sound card are you using? In this case, I've got a few options here. I'm going to go with line MGXU. That is my mixer off of my the line off of my mixer. It has USB capture built in. Okay. What quality do I want, or what resolution? I'm going to go with 44 kilohertz, stereo, and 16-bit. Pretty much my thought on this is the same as it is on many things. If it's good enough for a CD, it's good enough for me. CDs had great quality, and I think working with those limitations is fine. Let's see, I connect. There we go. That's the cable I have hooked up to this keyboard. So that's what's going to transmit the data to play the notes. What channel do I want to transmit them on? Well, the keyboard that I'm sampling is set to channel receive on channel 1, so I'm going to leave that alone. MIDI program. This I can change the program so that it will jump up to whatever it is in the bank. But in this case, I don't want it to change. I've already got the sample set here, and I just want it to stay where it is. So I'm going to change this to 0. That is unchanging. So it says if you don't want Sample Robot to send the program changes, then set the MIDI program to 0. Bam, done. Sample range. Now this is where you select how many keys your keyboard that you're playing your sound on has. Generally, I try and add 1 to 2 octaves to whatever I'm capturing. I'm going to do 37 keys for your sake because I want to get through this as quickly as I can, not make you sit through a long video. You can do up to 128 keys. I'll let that be up to you. But also know that if you pick 37, you're only going to have 37 keys mapped out on your keyboard with sounds on them. Everything else is going to be a dead zone. You can tweak it and stretch that sample down or up or whatever you want to do, but that's what you'd be working with. Velocity layer. I'm going to leave it on 1 velocity layer because this particular sample doesn't have a lot of variation to its velocity. We'll do 2 just to see, you can see what that is like. Key steps. How many keys do you want to sample of those 36 keys that we selected, 37 keys that we selected? Well, if I want to do 1 note per octave, I would put this to 12. Right now it's set to 6. That would be 2 notes per octave, so you'd get a C and an F sharp. Basically, in this case, this instrument is pretty, I'll say flattish. There's not a lot to it. So I'm just going to do 1 per octave. That'd be fine. That'll get me, in this case, 4 sounds, because 37 notes is just stepping outside the 3rd octave. How long do I want to sample the note for? I'll say 2.5 seconds. That's fine, and we don't really need a release length in seconds. We could add just a tiny one if we want to, because that will give us, I'll say, a little air. So if there's any kind of air reverb at the end or whatever, that will capture some of that. Do I want this sound to loop? No, it doesn't loop. Look, plays and goes. That's the whole sound. So I'm going to say, nah, we don't need it to loop. Why would I, if I get to loop, that'd be just kind of wasted space. If I do want to loop it, I can mess with that on my own, It's not built into the sound, so I don't need it. And I'm going to hit finish. This screen comes up. What happens here is this screen is where I initiate the actual record. Okay, and it's telling me down here it's going to record at velocity 63 and 127. All right. Now, what I'm going to do while we do this, I'm going to turn my mic down because, unfortunately, since I'm recording through the same sound card, it doesn't know the difference between me talking and the synthesizer playing. You can see that by the levels up here on the right, the peak meter. When I talk, you can hear me. There we go. When I play keyboard, you can hear that too. So basically, I'm just going to turn my mic down while we do this, and I'm going to click start recording. So here we go. All right, and that's going to do it for the capturing part. Now what we need to do is we need to name this project. So we're in the YouTube demo. I've already got it under CS1X. I'm just going to name this after the patch, which is Quadra. Quadra. All right, and now it's going to hit save. Now this is going to save a raw patch of this synth, essentially raw to some degree, which now, using this, I can export this sound to any other synthesizer. But let's go up top here before we do that. We want to go, see where it says edit. We're going to go to normalize. And the reason we're doing that is because I'm going to tell it to do all the sounds in this project. Put it to -2. Yeah, just give me a little boost in volume so everything kind of has a little more, it fills the space a little more and it gives you a little more to play with while keeping the sound nice and clean. And hit save one more time. I am, sorry, I'm a little OCD with the save button. I've had too many projects decide that they didn't want to continue to play with me. And so I just save a lot. All right, now I want to play this in Reason. How am I going to do that? I go up to Import Export right here. And I go to Export Selected Project As. And now I pick what tool I want to bring this into. So I look down here. And you'll see where I'm just going to tell you some of the different formats we have here. This Propel Head right there, which is formerly called Propel Head, now called Reason Studio, but same product, same, works the same. If you've got a Volca sampler, here you go, right there. If you've got a Sequential Prophet, I've also got a Yamaha Montage, so bam, right there, one of those two I could use. If I don't have any of the synths that are listed here, I could just spit it out as waves right there. And I could take those waves and I could import them one by one. In this case, I'm going to use Reason software, the Reason Propeller Reason software. Sorry, can't talk. Apparently something happened there. All right. What format do I want? Well, what we've got here is 44 kilohertz, 16-bit, and stereo. I don't know that we need stereo. I can save 50% of the sound's storage space by using mono. So I think that's what I'm going to do. If you look at the samples, they look pretty much exactly the same, left and right, to me. I don't see any variation, so I don't think we're going to lose anything by just going, at least not on this instrument. We'll just grab the left only. Click OK. There's my CS1X Quadra, and now I'm just going to hit, put this in the right place, which is down the YouTube demo. Click OK. And I'm just going to save. And that's it. Now I have a sample out that I can bring into Reason. I'm going to jump over to Reason real quick and show you that it does work. Here's an empty NNXT. All right, and we're on the initial patch, which is empty. I'm going to open up here, right here. Click Open. And we want to go to Drive F, YouTube Demo. And there's our sound right here. Open that up. And now you can see that we have two different sounds, or two different velocity layers in here, and 4 different notes captured. That's pretty nice. One thing I generally like to do a lot of times with my synth sounds is I like to take the release up just a tick, just a tiny bit, to give it just that little. All right, well, that's pretty awesome. That's it. That's how you get the samples in here. Now, once they're here, you can do whatever you want with them. I can sit here and I can go, okay, these guys here, the ones on the, as we go up the keyboard, like just like a real piano, I could start telling it that these pan a little left, these pan a little right. I can add effects to it. I can, whatever I want to do can be done right here in Reason. Same thing with almost any other sampler. They all have their own filters and their own LFOs and that type of thing where you can apply additional effects to these sounds. Now, what has this done for me? Let's just take a moment and think about what this allows me to do. Why would I want to do this? Well, now my CS1X, which is it's getting up in years. Love this keyboard, but it is getting up in years. It could die tomorrow. And if it dies tomorrow, I have preserved one of the many sounds on there for use in my future endeavors with other applications, or with other synthesizers. I could save that raw batch there that I have from it and export it to different formats. It also lets me, instead of giving, if I'm working on a project and I want to send a remixer my stems, I can send them the stems, but I can also send them the MIDIs. And I can take the instrument and dump it out as a instrument for them to play with. They can import it into any sample that they have and have essentially the same instrument. So that gives them a little more play, a little more to do with it, rather than just chopping up my audio and trying to, cobble something together from it. They can actually go, oh, well, I could play something really good with this because I have this as an actual instrument. And the final thing is, if I'm going out gigging and I want to take my Mode DX, I can load up the sounds from any other system onto a USB drive, bring my Mode DX, and I've got all those sounds with me. I don't need to bring around 50 keyboards, not even 2 keyboards if I don't want to. It can be just all handled with one because of this software. So if you're looking for a way to take your keyboards with you all the time, or most of the time, or you want to preserve an old piece of gear, the sounds from it, without actually getting too crazy and involved in how much work it's going to take to get as much out of it as you can, take a look at Sample Robot. That's the whole thing, though, guys. I just wanted you guys to get a good look at that. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments below. And let me know what you thought of the video. If you liked this video and you found it useful, please click the like button. Also, if you really want to keep in touch with me, which I hope you do, don't forget to subscribe to the videos because you'll know what I'm working on. I've got a live stream coming up soon, and it's going to be kind of a music production Q&A live stream where I'm just going to I'll be working on a project and you guys can ask questions, and you can just throw anything at me you feel like asking. Almost everything's on the table if you want to ask questions. So let me know what you guys think and what you're up to, and keep in touch, and I will see you on the next one. Have an excellent day, and go make some music. See ya.